Our presence here on this national mall is not just about ending our collective
silence,
but it signals the beginning of a new era of accountability for our trusted servants, the people we elect up on that hill a few blocks away. No longer will we allow our congressmen to be able to ignore the voice of the 85 million Americans impacted by addiction. And it's not just our silence that has ended with our presence here on the sacred ground. Together, our movement has created the energy for a man who lives just a block away, finally to begin facing addiction with us. Here is a special message from the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama.
Hi again, Naples Beach guy. Can you put in the comments what's your name?
More Americans now die every year from drug overdoses than they do in car crashes. All of this takes a terrible toll on too many families in too many communities all across the country, big and small, urban and rural. It strains law enforcement and treatment programs. It costs all of us in so many different ways. And as a country, we have to keep working to reduce drug use through evidence-based treatment, prevention, and recovery. Because research shows it works. Courageous Americans show it works also, every single day. That's why the man I named to head the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Michael Botticelli, is a man in long-term recovery himself. He talks about it openly and honestly, precisely to strike down the shame and stigma that too often keep people from seeking care before it's too late. This is something I'll be talking about more in the weeks to come in communities across the country, because it is a challenge we can solve if we work together. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome.
Please welcome Director of National Drug Control Policy at the White House, Michael Botticelli.
Look at that.
Hi, everybody.
Today is the day.
Who would have known 27 years ago in the grips of addiction that I'd be standing on a stage in front of 100,000 people representing the President of the United States and drug policy in the United States.
This is what long-term
how
recovery
excited
looks
I am
like.
to be here right now. I am amazed to see how many of you, how we are making our voices heard, that people with substance abuse disorders and people in recovery can change this conversation. Public opinion and public policy can only change when people affected by this disorder organize themselves and put a face and a name to this disease. As I have said many times, it's hard to hate up close. If I asked any group of people for a show of hands as how many of them have been affected by substance use disorders, I know I would get a majority of people in the United States. But because this disease does not discriminate, it does not know racial or ethnic or economic or geographic boundaries. But regardless of the fact that everyone in our country is affected by substance use disorders, it is still shrouded in shame and stigma. And people are afraid to speak up. We whisper about it. People constantly come up to me and say, I'm in recovery, or my mother or father has a disorder, or I lost a family member. But we are here today to stop the whispering about this disease. Silence has always been our enemy. You don't allow a diabetic in kidney failure before offering them insulin. Yet untreated substance use routinely proceeds unchecked until they have reached their most acute levels of care. We can change that conversation. I stand here today as one of the millions of Americans in recovery. That's why I'm here, that's why you're here. And I want you to know that your voices are heard. The President's drug policies are based on the fact that addiction is a disease, and that we can prevent, treat, and recover from this disease. And that our jails and prisons should not be the treatment of choice. Thanks to the Affordable Care Act, More Americans have access to care and treatment, but we must and we can do better. Now, more than ever, we must continue to expand services, implement parity for coverage so that insurance companies do not discriminate against people with substance use disorders. As you've just heard President Obama say, as a country, we have to keep working to reduce drug use through evidence-based prevention, treatment, and recovery. Because research shows us that it works. Courageous Americans, all of you are a testament to that it works every day. Those courageous Americans are all around us today. You are and you will continue to change hearts and minds by being honest and open about who you are, what you went through, how you overcame it, and what you have become. I talk publicly about my own recovery because I believe that those of us who are affected, those of us who have lost loved ones, must speak out to change the shame and stigma of substance use disorders. We must choose to come out and in the light and be treated with dignity and respect. We must defy stereotypes that keep too many people from seeking care and treatment and moving into recovery. So let's stop whispering about this disease. You are in the vanguard of a movement that cannot be changed about how we view addiction in this country. And when you return to your communities, tell someone I am in recovery. Reach out to those affected. Organize. That is the only way that we're going to change the course of this disease. I want to leave you with a quote by one of my heroes, Harvey Milk, who was one of the first openly gay elected officials in San Francisco. And he was talking about the gay rights movement, but it has importance about today. He said, once they realize that we are indeed their children, that we are indeed everywhere, every myth, every lie, every innuendo will be shattered. And once and for all, you will feel and do better. Thank you everyone for the work that you do. Keep up the good work.
Alright, give you guys another peek of the massive amount of people that are here.
Hi, Paul McCartney here. Recovery from addiction is a very important issue for me. 4 lives are lost every minute to addiction.
You would have ever told me, even last year, that this would be possible and that this would be an event.
It's time we address this problem and spoke
I wouldn't
up.
have believed it.
So let's get together and put an end to addiction.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Last Comic Standing, our host for the day, Rich Voss.
Whoa! Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining. And seriously, if you are in recovery, you need to step up. We need to stand out. We need to tell people that we are here, we are real people, we recover, and help our children, because that's it. Our children don't know it. Our children are suffering every day, and I see it working with them. That they're wondering, you know, what's even the point? It's not that big of a deal, so it's a little pot, so it's a little this, it's a little that. And, you know, snorting bars of Xanax at 16 years old and thinking that it's not a problem, it's not going to cause addiction. If we don't stand out in recovery and tell them, hey, that is how I started. That's where I was. I was there. Right? That's where I was. Like, we have to stand up because these kids, they don't see it. And I'll tell you what they're being told. They're being told that if you do drugs, you're going to become a prostitute. If you do drugs, you're going to become homeless. You do drugs, you're going to be in jail. And that's years down the road. You know, for some of us it's months, but for most of us it's years down the road. And it's way beyond the experimenting stage. So we need to stand up and we need to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. And you don't want to be here not being able to speak like Joe Walsh was, barely being able to put together words because his brain is just so fried. And saying that it's possible.
It works.
It makes me so frustrated. Anyway, we have to stand up. All right, I will be back.
I do have